This case isn't just another school shooting. It's the deadliest in U.S. history. Cruz, just 19 years old, murdered 17 people and wounded 17 others at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. And he announced his intentions beforehand.
Hello, my name is Nick, and I'm going to be the next school shooter of 2018. My goal is at least 20 people with an AR-15 and a couple tracer rounds. I think I can get done.
Cruz used a semi-automatic rifle he'd bought illegally a year earlier. When questioned about the purchase, he casually replied,
"I go shooting with my friends on the weekends. I just want my own stuff."
In court, Cruz pled guilty to 17 counts of premeditated first-degree murder and 17 counts of attempted first-degree murder. But it's what happened during sentencing that really got to people. He admitted his responsibility for the massacre by pleading guilty to all the charges.
What's going on? What's going on today, bro?
The demons, man.
Demons?
Voices.
Yeah, no problem. We got it.
Voices.
Voices and demons?
Where's the voices? What the Where the am I? Holy what happened?
Just be quiet, man.
It's disturbing stuff, leaving you to wonder about his mental state. Anthony Borges, shooting victim who fortunately survived, show his bullet wounds to the court. So, after all this, Cruz got life in prison without parole for each murder, plus 34 more life sentences for the attempted murders. At sentencing, Cruz tried to apologize.
I am very sorry for what I did, and I have to live with it every day. And that if I were to get a second chance, I will do everything in my power to try to help others.
But his words rang hollow. He even laughed at one point in proceedings. Here's 18-year-old Shondell Jackson in the halls of the Milwaukee County Courthouse. He's being sentenced for the murder of a university student. Reports say that 18-year-old Jackson and his friend were looking for someone to rob when they spotted Nathan Potter leaving a bar. Nathan Potter, a 21-year-old student at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, was their target. They followed him, confronted him, and demanded money. When Jackson realized Potter didn't have any cash, Jackson made a fatal decision. He shot and killed him. The day after the murder, Jackson fled to Mississippi, but his own uncle tipped off the police, leading to Jackson's arrest. During the trial, Jackson's behavior was disturbing. He made gestures towards the victim's family and even smiled at them as he left the courtroom. Moments before the sentencing, Jackson's mother spoke to the court, sharing her emotion.
When I saw it on the news, I even cried. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine what that mother is going through. I never had a clue that my child had anything to do with it. My son is not a monster. He is not a monster.
Jackson then apologized for his actions, pleading,
I apologize for my behaviors. Please don't take my life from me.
However, the judge sentenced him to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
Rises to that level.
Jackson's friend, who acted as a lookout, pleaded guilty and received 12 years in prison. Next, we have Jennifer Mee, whose life took an unexpected turn. At 15, Mee gained fame as the hiccup girl due to an uncontrollable case of hiccups. But her fame faded after her hiccups were cured, and the media lost interest. 4 years later, Jennifer's back in the news, but not for hiccups. This time, she's standing in a Pinellas County courtroom, facing a murder charge. At 19, she was charged with first-degree murder. She allegedly lured a 22-year-old man she'd met online to a vacant home. But Mee wasn't working alone. Her boyfriend, Lamont Newton, and another friend, Laren Rayford, were also involved in this, where Newton and Rayford robbed, and the robbery turned deadly when the victim was shot and killed for just $50. In a recorded jail call, Mee admitted to her mother.
Hi, Mama.
Hello, Jennifer. What's going on?
I'm in jail.
Why are you in jail?
From, first degree first degree.
Who'd you kill?
I ain't killed nobody.
Well, then how are they charging you with attempted murder?
Because I set everything up. It all went wrong for me.
The jury found me guilty, and the judge sentenced her to life in prison without parole, stating,
The jury having found you guilty of murder in the first degree, Miss Me, I will adjudicate you guilty and sentence you to life in prison without parole.
Her co-defendants, Rayford and Newton, received the same sentence. This is 16-year-old Dylan Shoemaker in a Buffalo, New York courthouse. While babysitting his girlfriend's toddler, Shoemaker beat the 23-month-old child to death. Dylan was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. He claimed he was trying to get the child to stop crying and never intended to hurt him. But the jury didn't believe his story and convicted him. As he entered the courtroom, Shoemaker broke down, crying out,
I didn't mean to kill Austin. Ashley, I really didn't. I really think I did that. I didn't mean to hurt him.
But the sincerity of Shoemaker's remorse was called into question by a damning piece of evidence. While awaiting trial, Shoemaker had a phone call with his mother, which was recorded. The judge read a quote from the call.
Call to your mother from the holding center you stated, and I got a quote from the court reporter. I am a 16-year-old blonde. Probably all I have to do is cry in front of the jury, and they're going to feel sorry for me.
This calculated statement contrasted sharply with his courtroom remorse. Shoemaker tried again, saying,
I can't take back what was done. I wish I could. I would give my life for Austin. I loved him a lot.
But the damage was done. The judge didn't hold back, sentencing Shoemaker to life in prison with a minimum of 25 years. This was later reduced to 18 years to life. Next is Brandon Spencer, who stands trial for a Halloween night shooting at the University of Southern California. At 19, Spencer opened fire at a crowded party. People ran and hid in fear. Spencer also ran, but half a mile away. LAPD officers caught up with him in a parking lot and brought him in for questioning. Days later, he was charged with 4 counts of attempted murder. 4 people were injured, but no one died.
That if you are so intent on killing someone that you're willing to shoot them and at the same time open fire into a crowd.
The prosecutors argued that Spencer, a known gang member, was targeting a rival.
I'm sorry for what happened, Your Honor, but I need to life in prison. And I'm not a bad person, but I made mistakes.
Despite maintaining his innocence, Spencer was found guilty. On sentencing day, about 50 family members and friends of Spencer were present in the courtroom. As the judge read the 40 years to life sentence, Spencer lost control, banging his head on the defense table. Finally, we come to the case of Martis Fuller in Kenosha County, Wisconsin. At just 15, Fuller was accused of a crime that shocked the community, killing his ex-girlfriend and attempting to kill her mother. Fuller allegedly broke into his ex-girlfriend's house, armed with a handgun, and shot her as she listened to music in her bedroom. The violence didn't stop there. Hearing the gunfire, her mother comes to check. She comes face to face with Fuller, and he shot her too, though she survived. Later, she's the one who identified Fuller.
I stopped in my doorway, and I looked at him, and I said, "Oh my God, Mark, please." I said, "Please, you don't have to do this." And he looked at me, and he said, "Yes, I do."
Throughout the trial, Fuller showed no emotion, nothing. But when the jury foreman stands up and says,
"We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree intentional homicide,"
Fuller finally seemed to react. At his sentencing, Fuller maintained his innocence through a statement read by his attorney.
Statement that he asked that I read on his behalf.
Okay. As you know, court reporter, read slowly, okay?
Yes. Wholeheartedly, I wanted to write this giving my sincerest apologies to this family I once shared time and love with. Truthfully, I am sorry about the pain you've all suffered through this, but more importantly, the loss of my ex-girlfriend Kaylee that I loved too. So I am sorry. Despite the hatred that is against me, I still am sorry. But I have to continue to stand innocent because I am. And I know that I've barely showed emotion throughout my time, but in all honesty, it is because it's hard to have tears left to cry knowing my mom lost a son, one of her children too. But I am sorry, and I hope you all can eventually see in your hearts and vision that I am not the person the media has made me out to be. Thank you for the chance to hear me out.
The judge isn't buying it. He looks at Fuller and says,
To trust that you will never commit these acts again. You continued violent behavior in the jail, acknowledging the seriousness of these acts. The court orders that on count 1, you are sentenced to life in prison without eligibility for extended supervision. You are, don't